Thanks for joining me today for the very first installment of our new series, Mini Talk. The never-ending goal to achieve one-to-one mini representation in my D&D games is a quest that I shall not shy away from, no matter how foolhardy or costly. Throughout this series, I'll be sharing my ever-expanding minis collection, going over each monster's characteristics, and providing answers to tough questions such as how I collected them, why I collected them, why the creature is an essential mini, and of course, the all-important two-part question, how and why I utilize the monster in my D&D games. Of course, if you have different viewpoints, stories, or ideas about the monster of discussion, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Today, we take a drive-by look at one of my most beloved monsters in D&D. In fact, it was this monster that inspired me to create this entire series, the wolf. Simple, elegant, and deadly in numbers. Now, some might describe wolves as just plain boring. However, their dangerous presence in one of my favorite fantasy series of all time makes them impossible for me to ignore. Now, without further ado, let's mini talk. The wolf is a medium beast whose fundamental strength is overwhelming its opponent using sheer numbers. Similar to real life, the wolf is designed to be fast, keenly aware of its surroundings, and survives best when hunting in packs. It's no wonder then that wolves have high perception and stealth skills to accompany its fairly high passive perception. Its unique abilities, keen hearing and smell, and pack tactics further demonstrate that wolves are apex predators not easily surprised. Not to mention, a wolf's bite action deals healthy damage towards low-level player characters, and includes the additional bonus of potentially knocking its target prone. Therefore, player characters should not underestimate the wolf, for in doing so, they might unwittingly and unwillingly become the beast's next meal. Now let's take a look at my collection. The first two minis I collected were these two guys right here, official D&D minis, and they cost about $5 each, and I realized at that point, how am I going to make a whole pack? It's too expensive. So I've been slowly building, looking, searching. I eventually found these plastic models that were about $5 for two.
I'm like, okay, good. The wolf pack's expanding, but I'm gonna need more, and I found these metal
models that I had to paint, but there were about 3 in a pack. And by that point, I was satisfied with that I had enough to represent a full wolf pack in the game. One of my first encounters as a DM, or actually it was my first combat encounter as a DM, was the scene before you here. I used wolves. And the idea is that players stumble upon this farmstead. There are some guards that have been attacked already. There's been some fences broken down over here. And players will investigate the whole wrecked scene, find a farmer inside the house, and at that point, they hear the howl of wolves, and the wolves will jump out and attack them from all directions. So when I first did this, I obviously did not have all the wolves. So when I run this in future, I'm so happy that I can actually represent the whole wolf pack charging in on the scene from every direction. That's my main group of wolves. At the same time, I love wolves. I really appreciate that there is a family tree of wolves that go up in challenge rating. So as the players level up, I have some wolves that I'm going to use against them as well. So a few models I picked up were these ones. They're very cheap, and I just got them from like a kid's toy bag, repainted them, put them on some bases, and perfect. Winter wolves, dire wolves, they can work for that as well. These are the official D&D models I picked up that just look really awesome. Again, a little more expensive, but were worth it to me because I believe wolves are worth it. And this last model I got was this big sort of dire wolf. Again, I could use it as a winter wolf, but I'm basically ready for any situations regarding wolves at this point. I'm very happy about that. So thanks for checking out my collection, and let's continue on here about why I think wolves are awesome to have in your game. As I mentioned at the start of this video, wolves hold a very special, biased place in my heart. It's my favorite animal due to its beauty, loyalty, team tactics, and ferociousness. Also, the idea of the lone wolf speaks to me in a melancholy type of way that I enjoy. Most importantly, however, in Guy Gavriel Kay's The Fionavar Tapestry, wolves play a central role as antagonists who serve Galadan, a shape changer that can change into a malevolent black wolf. It's a great trilogy, and if you haven't yet, check it out. Book 1's a little bit of a tough read, but it improves from there. Anyways, in summary, for me, wolves belong in fantasy settings, and I can't help but find a way to put them into my campaigns because I always find value in them. Therefore, I needed the minis, and as you saw, nothing short of an entire wolf pack would do. But why use wolves in D&D, you ask? In general terms, wolves are useful for ambushing players, outnumbering players, and are easily used in both random or planned wilderness encounters. As a DM, I appreciate that putting large numbers of wolves on the table automatically makes sense. It's not a cheap move. In fact, it's realistic and requires little explanation. Unlike orcs, goblins, or other mythical monsters or beasts, wolves are monsters that are immediately recognized and understood by players because they are, as we know, real. Wolves are dangerous, that speaks for itself, and therefore it's easy for players to understand and connect with that danger. No nature check required. Everyone can imagine what being chased by a hungry pack of wolves might be like, so it's very inclusive. And when playing with newer players, that's what I want, an immediate cold hard fight where everybody understands the stakes. In essence, wolves offer fewer chances for players to creatively get out of the fight. In a sense that makes them less versatile than a sentient monster such as a goblin, but that's okay. I must say, as a DM, it's nice to know that in most cases using wolves will result in a combat encounter. Unless of course druids, rangers, or wizards are involved. Yet, even in that scenario, low-level characters have limited spells to fend off an entire pack. At the same time, I've seen many players creatively use fire as a way to control, frighten, or contain the aggressive beasts, which can often lead to even more trouble if the players aren't careful, meaning there still remains some environmental leeway that a thinking player can take advantage of if he or she so chooses. Finally, the Wolf's Pack Tactics ability is a helpful tool to teach new players the mechanic of advantage, and gives the wolf a simple but effective advantage to really put the players on edge. As previously mentioned, players have a tactical opportunity to disrupt that ability through special positioning, fire, or by other creative means. Overall, the wolf is a monster that I recommend adding to your miniature collection. It's an understandable monster that's easy to add in most campaign settings, perfect for wilderness encounters, usually leads to combat, and can be a great monster to use when playing with new players. That's it for this mini talk, but please add your thoughts, comments, and opinions in the comments below, and remember, all D&D, all day long, all night till dawn.